The grace and peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. It's so good to have you joining with us in the house of the Lord this morning. Today is the first Sunday after Easter in the life of the church. Generally speaking, all the way back to the 15th century, we've celebrated this day as Holy Humor Sunday. It is a day that is intended to remind us of the joy and the laughter that God provides for each one of us. And so as we begin this service today, I invite you into a time, wherever you may be, to experience the fullness of our God through laughter and through joy, through humor and through song. And wherever you are, I would invite you to light a candle as a reminder of the fact that wherever we are, that God is with us and that the presence of God's light remains in this space and in this time. Let us prepare our hearts and minds to worship God this morning.
Oh, looks like rain, huh?
It looks pretty clear.
I think I'm pretty sure it's gonna rain, though.
Nothing in the forecast.
Just trust me on this one. I think it's gonna rain. Can you take me to Home Depot real quick? I just gotta get some supplies, though.
All right, where are we going today?
Okay, I'm really not sure. I was fishing, and this guy Jesus was like, "Hey, follow me," and like for some reason that sounded like a good idea. So just like wherever he's going, just like follow him.
Saul?
No, it's Paul, actually. Long story.
Do you want to put those in the trunk?
Dude, I gotta practice, bro. Just go.
Looks like we are headed to Nineveh. Cool.
Listen, could you mind actually taking me in the opposite direction? I don't, Dude, you gotta go now. This dude Potiphar's wife is on me, bro. Go.
There is some candy in the seat pockets. Help yourself.
Okay, I'm on a diet. I definitely cannot eat candy. Do you have any, like, vegetables or, like, nuts or anything in here? Hey, just, first of all, for the record, do not look in that rear view mirror, okay? Just, like, don't at all. Just don't look straight ahead.
Where are we headed?
We gotta go to, Egypt. Is that okay?
So where are we headed today?
We're actually going to the mountains. Actually, I'm gonna put it. Can I add a stop?
Yeah.
You mind if I do that? We gotta pick up my son.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Wait. Jesus?
I'm not Jesus though. He's coming behind us though. You can go ahead. It's fine.
Sir, there's no smoking in the car.
Okay. I don't smoke, so.
Smells like it. GPS is acting up. Do you know the way?
Yeah, I'm the way.
What's up?
What?
I'm not seeing an address here.
You know what? We gotta pick up my two buddies in a sec, but just follow the North Star. Can you do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Where are we headed?
Get lit. Take me to a distant country.
Where are we headed?
Take me back to my dad's house.
You need some of this?
You know what? Yeah. Hold on, is that guy dead? Hold on, slow down. Let me see if this guy needs some help. 1 second. Don't leave.
What? The GPS wants me to go through the water.
Yeah, that's fine. Straight ahead. Yeah, we're good.
I'm not gonna Michael Scott this thing.
It's fine, dude. It'll work out when we get up there. Just trust me.
While I got you in the car, I have to ask. I've been having this dream, right?
Okay, here we go.
Like, there's this wheat field.
No,
okay?
can you just drive, please?
Hey, man. So instead of a tip, maybe you could just help me out a little bit?
Oh, okay. It was one time. Why does everyone always ask me that?
Sorry. Hey, did you know that we also rate you guys?
Okay, it's called a joyful noise. All right, ever heard of it?
Are you okay?
We are going on the trip now. It's going to be rough. It's going to feel like it's going on for a long time, so it's going to be hard to stay alert. It's going to be even harder to be quiet, but you have to do both. You have to do every single thing I say, or we will not make it. Understand?
When I saw that clip surface a few months ago, I just about passed out laughing from it, in part because I had just come back from a youth trip as a sponsor. Our kids go up to Purdue every 3 years for a triennium, which is our denominational conference that our high schoolers get to go to. And since it's Holy Humor Sunday, I asked Christina, our youth director, if she had any interesting stories or anecdotes of doing youth ministry, in large part because I know in my time in youth ministry, when I started working with the church, it was definitely anxiety-inducing and definitely frustrating at times, but there was a lot of laughter and a lot of humor because of the way that kids just are, the way that they operate and the way they exist. She reminded me that while we were up there, we were staying on the dorms at Purdue, and we had told the kids that they had to get their luggage and get ready, and that we were going to be leaving at 1 o'clock, and we were prepping them to leave for the next day. And we gave them a list of things, clean your dorm room and pack up all your stuff and make sure your bag's here. And one of our youth, I remember, asked, because we said, you have to have your bags downstairs in the lobby at 1 o'clock. And one of the youth said, is that AM or PM? And Christina sarcastically turned to him and said, oh, it's AM. Well, it's the job of the adult sponsors to go every night and check and make sure that the kids are in their dorms, and then we go down to the lobby and we turn in a slip that lets them know that we've checked and yes, everybody for sure is in their dorms. And so I was doing that, and it was just after midnight, and I got on the elevator to go back up to the top, and here comes Luke, one of our youth, with all of his luggage, everything packed up, about to roll it onto the elevator at 12:30 in the morning, right there at midnight. And it was hilarious in part. I had to text a picture and send it to Christina and tell her what happened, and all the other kids just thought it was the funniest thing. But whether he was joking or whether he really believed that that's what the plan was, it's humorous. Little anecdotes like that, things like that seem to happen all the time. And I feel like my children are really no exception to that. And I love, at times, working with adults, but I also really enjoy working with children and with youth, in part because I'm always inspired by the way that they look at the world. They're always seemingly interested in experiencing the gambit of human emotions. Teenagers especially, young people in their adolescence, they want to feel every aspect of it. Joy and pain and anguish and sorrow and grief and lament and laughter and all of these different things. And there's this coming of age that's happening with them where they feel this desire to experience the totality of the human experience. I think in part as we begin to get older and as we experience more and more aspects of life, that some of that youthful jubilance, some of that youthful naivete just kind of falls by the wayside. And I think that we sometimes find ourselves just harping on one particular thing. If we feel this sense of real bitterness, then we just clench onto that anger. If we feel this sense of anxiety, then we just let that anxiety kind of drain and push us over and over again. And this passage in Ecclesiastes is really meaningful for me. I really love it in large part because Ecclesiastes, unlike the other books of the Bible, it doesn't resolve. A lot of the other books of the Bible that we come across and that we see, they have some sense of resolution at the end. There's a lot of language that's used in numerous books that talk about the struggle and the grief and the anxiety, but then they go on and they seem to find some resolution. And Ecclesiastes is a really unique book because it mentions all of these things, that there is a time for joy and a time for peace and a time for laughter, a time for sadness, that there's a time for every season under heaven. And I think that as we get older and older in life, we kind of forget that. We clench onto those things that really drive our experience and our understanding. Sometimes we just clench onto the things that make us feel good or better. I think I also love movies in large part because of their ability to speak truth. There was a movie that came out a few years ago called Tree of Life. And in it follows this family as they're trying to figure out how to raise this child or their kids in Central Texas. And Brad Pitt plays the father. And I remember the dialogue and the context between the mother and the father. The mother is so deeply nurturing and loving and forgiving, and she's always there for them. The father is seemingly very harsh and very bitter and very direct and challenging in the way that he chooses to raise his children. And as the movie goes on, you begin to really see that what the father is doing is he's trying to prepare his children, because he believes that the world that exists around them is full of trial and struggle and hardship. And he really believes that in doing what he is doing, in treating his children the way that he is preparing them for the cruelty of the world. I think a lot of us probably know what that is and what that's like. I know I, as a father, really struggle with that a lot. I know at the times in which I seek to correct my children the most, the times that I may snap out at them, in large part is because I look at them and I see something that they're doing that I am afraid someone will make fun of them for. That they'll get picked on or they'll get ridiculed. And so I lash out in an attempt to try and push aside that activity, because I see it as a means of protecting my children. I see it as a means of preparing them for a world that might treat them poorly. I came across another meme a few months ago that started circulating, and it said, "Our job as parents is not to prepare our children for the cruelty of the world that they are going to encounter. Our job as parents is to encourage them to transform it. Our job as brothers and sisters, as sons and daughters, as people who live in this world, our job to the younger people that are around us is, I believe, in part to hear and to listen to the youthfulness that they have, to the joy that they have, to the willingness they have to experience the totality of human emotions, and to counter the world with all of its anxiety and dread and anger, to counter it with joy and laughter and hope and love and forgiveness. That there's something deeply meaningful and beautiful about humor, about laughing, about having the opportunity to take an experience that may seem hard and harsh and to alleviate it in some way so that everybody may find or experience a point of connection within it. I think there is much joy to be made in laughter. There's much joy to be made in humor. And there's so much joy that exists all around us, and in our desire and our attempt to look at the seriousness of life. I think we forget that. I think that it becomes easy for us to look at the laughter of children and to think to ourselves, don't you understand how serious the world is and how hard things are, and that there seemingly is no real reason to laugh or be joyful. But I think that God puts our children here. God puts people who love to laugh and love to see the humor in everyday life to remind us that the seriousness can be tempered down. Sometimes there are times when we are called to listen to truth as it is made real and relevant through stories and jokes and anecdotes and laughter. It's a beautiful thing, I think, to understand the fullness of life, to embrace the fullness of life. And my prayer for you this week is that in the seriousness and the severity of the situation of the world around us, that you would find time to see the joy and the laughter the humor, and the lightheartedness. That you would find places and things that would make you laugh, that would bring joy to your soul. Because I genuinely believe that the God of all of this, the God of this creation, desires that for us. To the God who exists in the middle of the frustration and the anxiety, to the God who brings joy and laughter to alleviate what we feel, to the God who desires for you and for I to truly have full and everlasting life. To that God be all honor, glory, dominion, and power, now and forevermore. Amen. Well, thank you so much for choosing to worship with us today. My prayer for you is that this has been a spiritually meaningful and uplifting experience, and that as we go out from this place to wherever it is you may be gathered, that you would experience the full understanding of human life, and that you would go out from this place knowing and believing in this amazing truth that wherever you go and whatever you do, that God, our Creator, Christ, our Redeemer, and the Spirit, our Sustainer, goes with us all. Amen.